Hey guys, it's Tommy here, and welcome back to another video with Pokey Accountant. And um, today is February 1st. That marks the end of January. And as I said, that on this channel we are going to have monthly closings, quarterly closing, and annual closing. So it very much follows the financial statement reporting that most corporations do, right? All the things are listed on the stock market, like your Apples, your Googles, your Amazons. They all have monthly reporting, and they also have quarterly reporting. And today I'm bringing to you monthly reporting for the month of January, for booster boxes and ETBs of the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet era. And I've pretty much based a lot of this analysis on just these products because I believe booster boxes and ETBs to be the premium products. We have a ton more products like UPCs, SPCs, a variety of collection boxes and tins and blisters and packs. And just to be real, there's way too much items to track in the market. I think as a Pokemon investor, if you look at the movements of booster boxes for main sets, right? And if you look at the specialty boxes, if you look at the elite trainer boxes of specialty sets, you have a general idea of what's going on in the market, because I believe for every set, for main sets, booster boxes will be the first mover before any other ancillary product. For ETBs, I believe the specialty products, right? The ETBs will be the first movers. Usually the Pokemon Center or the primary, it could vary depending on print runs and things like that. Those are generally going to be the mover for other products such as bundles and SPCs and collection boxes and what have you. So today I've put together these financial statements, and really my goal and my hope from all of this is that each month we can track the differences in prices, in set values, in price to value ratios, the quantity of items sold that month, and so forth. I think there is a lot of value in tracking these numbers just because we look at these charts way too often, and often way too much without any deep analysis, right? I see some PokeTubers will put up videos every single day and they'll talk about the prices, and realistically, in the asset wealth management world and private equity and venture capital, they don't do that. They look at these reports on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, and they make their decisions based upon that. So, but I know things can move really quickly in the market, such as Destined Rivals, right? Or if you're into One Piece, OP13 and all these other boxes, but like, it's just not realistic to be tracking it every single day. As an investor, these daily decisions shouldn't be really swinging what you do in investing. You should be investing a set dollar amount every single month, continuously, whether the market is hot or it's not. And that's what investing should be. So I hope as months and quarters go on, you see the value in this type of analysis, and you learn something. So without further ado, let's get into Pokemon booster boxes for the period ended January 31st, 2026. Okay, so let's start right away. So just going off the January activity, we know that Ascended Heroes got released this year, and this month actually, just 2 days ago. And the interesting thing with Ascended Heroes is it's a specialty set that is going to be drip fed throughout a whole month. But we only got the 3-pack blisters, and we did not get the 2-pack Larry blisters, which are delayed until February 20th, which is the same date as the ETBs and the mini tins. So that's all we got. We got wave 1 of the 3-pack blisters. We might get a wave 2 and a small restock, and that's pretty much all there is that is going to feed and supply the market at this point. We see that Pokemon is really backed up, right? And we haven't seen any booster box reprints at all in January. We see that Scarlet Violet 1 of 4 is rotating out, and just a combination of these activities right here, the hype in Pokemon, Ascended Heroes being out, there not being enough product, Logan Paul doing a break in February. People loving the Ascended Heroes set. Prismatic Evolutions is rotating out this year. There's no signs of any booster box reprints, and the last one we saw was Surging Sparks and vending machines, but that was like tiny. So that, I think, just boils things up and just creates this interesting market. We see silver and gold crash this last Friday. It went up extraordinary, then it crashed a little bit, but we see upswings in TCG, and it's retaining those prices, which is phenomenal. It's really interesting to me. Let's just get into it. So for market prices, I obtained these market prices through TCG Player. I didn't use the median listed price, but I look at like the last 5 to 10 items sold. And I took the average price of that, and that's kind of how I listed it. For items that sell less, I would use eBay to receive some prices as well. So for set value, I use pokedata.io.com. It has up-to-date prices for the entire set, and there's different ways and metrics you can measure this, but I think there's just way too many cards, way too much variety out there, that I just decide to use something that is consistent all across to save me time and a headache in calculating that. Quantity sold, so this is only TCG Player, and I know the quantity sold does bug sometimes, like we see here Sword and Shield base and Rebel Clash. It could have been a bug that it was telling me only one sold. Sometimes you have to like click and drill into it to get the full number, so I think this could be wrong, but as you see, these will not be really popular sets anyway. Here I have the release date and the years in market, which is the amount of time that this product has been released up until January 31st of 26, and how long this product has been in the market. So those are kind of all the metrics that we're going to be analyzing and looking at. And so let's go down a list of Sword and Shield. So for Sword and Shield, here we have price to value ratios, and you'll notice that it's pretty much the set value divided by market price, and this is an interesting metric to kind of look at. It kind of explains the story of like why Brilliant Stars is doing so well, why Chilling Reign is doing so well. Astral Radiance, like, it is pretty high, but it doesn't look like the box has kind of moved accordingly. So just because these ratios can mean a certain way, it doesn't necessarily always mean that because it's a good ratio, the box is going to go up. But it could be a good indicator that something is undervalued relative to other similar items. And it could be a good buy because of that intrinsic value of that, price that you're paying to the total set value and the demand for this product, right? So there's lots of things to go look at. There's prices, there's supply, there's demand, there's sentiment, there's shifts and changes in the market, right? And I know I said a lot. Sword and Shield base, so we got $4.97, and I don't have November's prices next to me, so I don't think I'll be going too deep into some of these like Sword and Shield, Rebel Clash, Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage. It seems as if these are not selling that well anyway, and they could have gone 5-10% up and nothing crazy. It's still really good returns, but compared relative to a lot of other items, it's not the best mover. I think Battle Style is something that's really interesting, with the most number of boxes sold in on TCG Player in January, with 56 boxes sold. It could be because this was maybe, I think, $220 a box, and so it's gone this 15% up. People just maybe figured that, hey, the value looks pretty good on this, right? With 2.77, it's better than Astral Radiance, and it was a relatively cheap box. This could have been in the threes actually, and people figured that this could be a good buy, right? Especially with those prices that people were selling at. And this could dry up very soon, right? It's gone up to 250, so that's something interesting to note here. And it is one of the better boxes amongst this kind of first rotation, if you would. Next, we got Chilling Reign, that is up. So I think we can kind of just categorize all these into one region, with the exception of astral radiance. I may have actually messed up there. That shouldn't be a 2. I think that was more of a 5. I probably like typed in the wrong number. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. So I'm going to remove astral radiance, but I think all of these boxes here, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, I did the wrong one, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, they kind of had this like dip in October and they came down, right? And it slowly started going back up in November, slowly started to pick back up in December, and in January, all of the erase from the correction of October has pretty much gone them back to where they were originally. And even with Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest really taking the leg up on this correction, right? This correction of a correction. People saw that these were undervalued boxes, and maybe, you know, even in respect to everything else that was going on, that it was just a really good screaming buy. Destined Rivals was 400 or 370, and people are like, hey, Brilliant Star Silver Tempest is also the same price. Fusion Chilling Reign is also the same price. Why don't I just pick these up instead? And I think that's what happened. And it really tells a story here with the amount of quantity that was sold, 14, 30, and 26. And yeah, so that's the story of that. And, you know, Evolving Skies, it does what it does. It's at 2,600. I think we're back to where we were before the correction. And we've recovered that. It's a strong item to hold, the strongest of the Sword and Shield. If you're probably the safest, most consistent returns, there could be, you know, maybe more potential if you buy a certain box, but it's really hard to know and predict. We don't know, you know, which box will do the whole Brilliant Stars kind of jump next, but it's cool to see. One interesting thing though is Lost Origin. It has recovered about like 10, 11, 12%, but it didn't recover as much as some of the other boxes. So I thought that was a really interesting to note. Excuse me, let me just grab some water really quick. I know this is kind of unprofessional, but I like doing my videos in one take. I don't like stopping it. So let me just grab a quick sip and we'll move on to the Scarlet and Violet boxes. All right. So Scarlet and Violet. Here we got some interesting things to note, that we have the first 4 boxes of the era rotating out in April, and we have these other 4 boxes, SVO5 through 9, that is rotating out next April. So the time to pick some of these up would be now, before they rotate out. And with the boxes that are rotating out in April, like, we're for sure not going to get any more reprints of these items. Like, it's 100% guaranteed that it's not happening. They have way too much other things to reprint. And if you would just look at the market prices for some of these, they're up in the near 300s, or 300, 400 for the stronger sets and items, right? And if you look at the set values of these, you know, some of them might not even have great set values. Obsidian Flames set value is only 370 and the box is selling for 300. And that's really interesting to note. It just has abysmal price to value ratio, while Paldea Evolved has really great value, right? And so maybe we can see this kind of like go up in price soon. It kind of already took that, you know, that it already did a lot of its gains. So I don't know if the gains would really be, if there would be a lot of gains for Paldea Evolved in like 2026, we could see some, but I don't know if it would go over $500 a box. I think that's kind of where it might be for a while, because there's just so many other items that are going off, like Destined Rivals, the most modern Scarlet and Violet box, and it's the most expensive, with the most expensive set value, of course. And it's just really interesting to note. If we look at SVO5 through SVO9, I think we can gather some interesting information here. if you look at Surging Sparks and if you look at Twilight Masquerade and Temporal Forces, the price to value ratio is phenomenal. And these boxes have not gone reprints except Surging Sparks. And I think that could be the item to pick up. I think that is the better box of this block. I think it's the Paldea Evolved of this block. So just as Paldea Evolved and Obsidian Flames is leading the charge, I think it's going to be Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade. That Pikachu is awesome. It's got a cool Latias. It's got really amazing illustration arts, and it's a really deep set. The pull rates are difficult, same as Twilight Masquerade, but I just think Surging Sparks is a little bit more value. It could be debatable which one to get, right? If you wanted to pick up one or the other, maybe pick up both, one of each, and just kind of average that out. But I think Surging Spark at its price is really good for its set value with a really amazing chase. And, you know, we look back at Sword and Shield and it's like, yeah, Evolving Skies is the best box. That is our Destined rivals, right? And we see like kind of second best to Evolving Skies, we have a Fusion Strike. And, you know, we can determine whether that is Paldea Evolve, Surging Sparks, or Twilight Masquerade. I don't think it's very, very clear yet, but, you know, regardless, if you invested in Fusion Strike or Lost Origin or, you know, Brilliant Star, Silver Tempest, like Chilling Reign, those are all pretty phenomenal sets. And I think we have some pretty clear cut, like Sword and Shield had a lot more bangers, I think, where Scarlet and Violet, we have a few bangers. I think Paldea Evolved, Surging Sparks, Twilight, and Destined are the ones with obviously Destined rivals leading the charge, right? These are the premium products that we talk about on this channel, how premium products always demand premium prices. And so that's what I think for that block. Looking at Journey Together and Destined Rivals, I think that is interesting. Journey Together is still a very cheap box. The price to value ratio is okay, and you know we got the Clefairy and we got the Salamence as the top chases, but there's not way too much going for it in terms of the special illustration rares. But Journey Together has some really great illustration rares. I think one of the best in this era. It's probably, I think, between Paradox Rift and Journey Together. Scarlet and Violet base has some great IRs as well. Paldea Evolved. It's so weird. It's like Scarlet and Violet is really IR heavy because that's when they introduced it, obviously. But it seems that there are some amazing IRs, but some of the SIRs are a little bit questionable. But yeah, Journey Together, maybe you could pick up a box. You don't have to. Surging Sparks, I think, at these prices might be the better buy. And if you want to show up a little bit more money, Twilight Masquerade could be amazing as well in the future. And of course, we saved the best for last. The best for last is Destined Rivals. What has happened and gone on with this box in the last month is beyond what I can imagine. I know in November time around Thanksgiving, we saw the box go from 370 up to 420 because of the TCG player sale. And I thought that would have just been temporary. That $50 gain would have just been washed out once, you know, the market calmed down and, you know, people were taking advantage of the 10% cash back. But it did not. It stayed at that like $400 mark for a while. And interesting enough, in the last 2-3 weeks, this box went from 400 to nearly 600. Holy crap. That's almost a 50%. Like sometimes it could be a 50% gain from the lows. Yeah, in fact it is. It's over a 50% gain. And I have no idea what is going on. It could be fear that there is no reprint, right? We got the booster bundle reprint and a Team Rocket tin reprint, but there are no booster boxes for Destined Rivals, and some people are FOMOing into this thinking that it will never get a reprint. I think my philosophy on this was to just pick up one booster box when it was about 370. Like pick up one or two, pick up one, two, three, pick up a few, but like don't have nothing, right? Because the odds were if it got reprinted, it would not go below 300. because like Surging Sparks didn't even get to MSRP. So like those people who are saying that Destined Rivals is going, dude, Journey Together is not even MSRP. Like if you're saying Destined Rivals is gonna be MSRP, I have no idea like what's going on in your head. Did you just listen to someone tell you that and you assumed it right away, or was there some critical thinking involved? Like there's no way this could have dropped. Even at 370, when I saw that price and it held it for a while, if there were reprints, maybe 320 would be the lowest it got. And but the thing is, the chance of that happening are there for sure. But if it didn't happen, the box would explode. So the downside risk on this box at 370 was so low, but the upside potential was so high. So I was screaming buy. I picked up 3 cases when it was $2,200 a case. And those things are $3,600 a case now. So, I mean, I wouldn't FOMO in at this price, but do I say like don't buy it? I don't know if I can say that. If you buy one, I think I can understand why. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's just really crazy what's going on with this product. We know it's a generational set. This is the evolving skies of the Scarlet and Violet. And I'm not going to say it's prismatic evolution. I don't think I can compare a non-booster box item to a booster box item. It just doesn't make sense. Booster boxes have that kind of appeal and aura, right? A Destined Rivals booster box is the equivalent of like 3 or 4 prismatic evolution ETBs, or like 6 prismatic booster bundles, and you just can't compare one item to like 3 or 6. One item is always going to carry more of a premium, and so that's why I think Destined Rival booster boxes are amazing. I hope it does come back down so people can pick it up, but if it doesn't, hey, it is what it is, right? Let's move on to Mega Evolution Era, and this is interesting. ME01, we saw a little bit of a gain from the dip. It dropped to like 220, and then it went up to 255 or 260, and it came back down a little bit. But it's a phenomenal box. If you look at the price to value ratio, it's got the best price to value ratio in existence. So we could still see reprints because, you know, Mega Evolution is still very early. How much of it, I don't know. But I think this is going to be a really great set in the future, in like 2 years from now when this thing rotates out. It could be good to have a few. I don't have any, but I might get a few in the future. I think that is a great and phenomenal box to pick up. Get the enhanced version if you could. For Phantasmal Flames, I think this is really interesting. This box got wave 2. It dropped to about $220 a box. I was seeing it for $200 on Facebook Marketplace. And people were so scared that this thing was going down to MSRP. But the complete opposite happened. We're at $280 a box. The Charizard, I thought would come down to the $300-$400 price. Nope. It stayed. It went up, actually. It's like $600 or $650 right now. Incredible. So that just, I think, speaks to the demand of that Charizard. And even when we look at Bubble Mew, you know, I think that was like a 1 in 400 pull rate, same as this Charizard. And that held a good price on its own. So I think it's really interesting to see what's here in Phantasmal Flame. There is good, you know, price to value ratio. It's just not very fun to open because if you don't get a Charizard, it's just painful. So I think that's an interesting box. Congrats to you if you were able to get these at the $200 marks. You did extraordinary. You bought it at a good price. Next, let's move on to ETBs. So I think these sections, it's already been 24 minutes of this video. I think these videos will be a little bit longer. So if you stick it out and you listen, I hope you learn a thing or two from this, because there's a lot of content and it did take me a little bit of time to put and gather all this together. So if you made it this far into the video, if you could leave a like, a comment, and if you want more of this content in the future, please subscribe, interact with the videos. It helps out the channel a lot, and I can grow and put out some more content, cooler, more unique content for you guys. So thank you so much. It means a lot to me. So just starting off, I don't think I'm going to go too deep into the Champions Path and the Shining Fates, as well as Pokemon Go. We know these are not the greatest sets out there. We do see that there's a good amount of Shining Fates sold, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, if you look at the price to value, to set value ratio, these are not the best items to really be buying. Maybe except for Crown Zenith, right? But it's not the best ratio. And just so you know, I did assume like a 36 pack ratio. So like for the price to value, because if I just took the price and I put it over the like market price or of the box, it's like we can't really compare to the booster boxes, because this is only like sometimes 9 packs, it's sometimes 10 packs, sometimes 12 packs. The Sword and Shield era was weird. The Scarlet and Violet era was a little bit more consistent. It was either 9 packs for regular ETBs or 11 packs for Pokemon Center ETBs. And I know this ratio doesn't account for the promo and the other ancillary product that comes with it, but I think this is kind of the best consistent general analysis that we can do, and that's what I did here. So yeah, Champions Path. I don't really scream to buy on these. Neither do I say to buy the Pokemon Go's. The celebration is really interesting because we got a 30th anniversary coming out this year, and this month actually, it's already February, will be the announcement of that. So I'm excited to see what's going to go on. We can see some great appreciation on these, and so we'll track these kind of month to month. I know a lot of the appreciation has already been built into these boxes last year in anticipation for the anniversary, and the boxes didn't really do anything since like between that period. But nevertheless, these are interesting to look at. The price to value ratio is not great, and I even included all the cards, and not the best value, but these items are cool. It's got Pikachu on it. I guess people just really love it. I don't understand it too much. It's cool, but it's heavily printed, and I don't know why there's such a large premium for these things. Just maybe because it's the anniversary set. Crown Zenith, people love this item. The set value has held tremendously despite the heavy printing. These things are sold a lot every single month. We see that the market prices of these have gone up, and it's going to continually go up. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I hope you're able to pick these up earlier, like in October, November. They were cheap, and they've recovered since, and it's at the 3-year mark now. So that's it for Sword and Shield. I don't think that going over like the specialty sets in Sword and Shield were not the way they are in Scarlet and Violet and moving forward, because really I think ETBs and specialty sets really grew in popular starting with Crown Zenith. Pokemon did a phenomenal job with Crown Zenith, and they realized that these specialty sets with all the big boxes, collection boxes, and UPCs and SPCs, it sold so well that they started to really look at these sets as ways to make more money, right? And without further ado, not even a year after the release of Crown Zenith, 151. And then not even after a year of the release of 151, you get Prismatic Evolutions. And then you get Ascended Heroes. They're just hitting it home with these specialty sets, and they really, truly are premium products. And that's really when you look at the set value of Sword and Shield, starting with Crown Zenith, that's when it starts getting really crazy moving forward. They realize that these sets sell, and they make the pull rates ridiculous, except for 151 and Crown Zenith. Those are relatively easy, but still, everyone wants the cards, everyone wants the product, and that's what I think drives the premium so high on these. So when you look at 151, yes, the price to value ratio is horrible, but it's such a loved product that it doesn't matter. The set value still remains high, and the ETB prices, the sealed prices is even higher, and people still want it. And now to add on top of that, these things are short printed. That only just adds to the value and the price of these things. So we know that 151 paldean fates is rotating out in April, and we did see that there would be a target restock, and I don't even know how that shook out. I don't think it did anything. If anything, the prices went up even more. Booster bundles are like what, 120 now? It's crazy. These ETBs went from like 340. I saw them at the low. People were selling them for 300, 320 on Marketplace, and now we're up 30% from that. Tremendous, tremendous growth. Paldean Fates, same thing. It's going up like crazy in price. And one thing you'll notice though is for elite trainer boxes, some items have like really high multipliers relative to the regular trainer boxes. Like the 151 is double, where Paldean Fates is only 33%. Shrouded Fates is like 33%. Prismatic is like 33%. Right, Black Bolt is like a little bit more than double. White Flare is like double. The more premium the box is, the more premium of a kind of Pokemon Center to regular ETB like ratio there is. And even if they printed a lot like they did with Prismatic Evolution, it creates that kind of like almost 3x multiplier, right? 151 short printed all around, so double multiplier, but it's really interesting to see. I think a potential play in this right now could be these Black Bolt ETBs and the Pokemon Center ETBs. They're really cheap for the set value. It's Black Bolt and White Flare together is worth way more than Prismatic Evolution, so I think that's interesting, and people do love these sets. It could be undervalued, but if you look at Prismatic Evolution, which is rotating out in April. I forgot to add that. Rotating out next April. Let me add that here really quick. So these things are rotating out next April. And when it does that, I think the prices for Prismatic Evolution would just go crazy. Once that printing stops, we've already seen it recently. These ETBs are selling for 140, sometimes even 150. From the low of 110. Once they stop printing Prismatic Evolutions, I don't know what's going to happen, but it might be really crazy. So keep an eye out for that. And I think Black Bolt and White Flare will also kind of surprise us. Maybe next year, there's still a little bit more. This is still relatively new, so there's still time for this thing to be reprinted, and so we'll just kind of have to see for that. So moving out of Scarlet and Violet, we have Ascended Heroes, and I'm not even going to really talk about this because we don't even have all the products out yet. ETBs are not out yet. We just have these little 3-pack blisters, and the set value is nuts right now. The market value is nuts right now. I just don't feel comfortable talking about something that came out 2 days ago with not much information on and not much product on. It's a scarce market, and so I don't recommend really looking into any of this for investing or even collecting purposes. If you can buy at MSRP, great. If not, just stay away from this thing, man. It's gonna be very financially responsible. I know there's a lot of hype and people want to get their hands on it, but there's lots of good other opportunities in the market right now, such as the Surging Sparks I mentioned, such as where is it? Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies, Chilling Rain, Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, right? All these boxes. Destined Rivals, I don't even know if I can really call that good play anymore. Twilight Masquerade, right? Mega Evolution Base. There's still some really good cheap value boxes in the market. Let's look over here. Crown Zenith, you can potentially pick one up. Let's see, Prismatic ETBs, Pokemon Center ETBs, right? Black Float, White Fair. There's still a lot of good value products in the market out there, and I think once this hype kind of like people realize they can't get these products anymore, they're gonna start pumping other things up. So it's gonna be really interesting to watch. I know this was a bit of a long video, and it could have gone a little bit dry at the end because it's so much data being thrown at you. But next month when we have February, I'm going to try to create some graphs So it's not just numbers, and it becomes a little bit more visual. We can look at that, and we can talk about things, but really we can go on for hours having a discussion on this. But let me know your thoughts on the Pokemon market in January. I think it's not going to be stopping, as I've been preaching, that the Pokemon market was drying up in December. It was drying up in January. It's dried up now. It's drying up again in February. We don't even have Ascended Heroes out. And so I think it's going to have another leg up. I don't know if it'll be like Destined Rivals moving, but I think other boxes will get noticed next, right? Like we saw we saw Brilliant Stars take this giant leg up out of nowhere. We saw Destined Rivals take this giant leg up out of nowhere, right? And we saw Prismatic Evolution take this giant leg up, right? And 151, and we'll continually see this in other products as well. Don't FOMO in. Continue to buy. Don't wait for the dip. Just slowly every single month pick 1 or 2 items up and consistently do that, and you'll be just fine. So I hope you learned something from this video. I'm Tommy with Poke Accountant, and I hope you enjoyed, and you have a nice day.